In this particular scenario, we're going to create a new shipment from scratch with a master and a house, and we're going to use the example from the quotation that we have. So basically, just as we've done in the other videos, we're just going to create a shipment. Again, what I want to do is tab under outgoing shipments in this particular scenario, under ocean and then May. And I want to right click and select a ocean shipment. This is the master. Again, to add a house, as we have done previously, we're going to go down to the houses, click on this little down arrow and select create house shipment. So now we have a master and a house, as you can see here on your left side. And as you can see here, master house. And we can just toggle back to the master. Okay, so basically the only difference in this particular example is that we are not going to include the freight charges at the master level. Rather, we are going to include the cost to be applied at the house level. So basically what we're doing here is we're going to just simply add in our information once again. We're going to add our bill of lading number. We're going to add our booking number. And this is if we have that information. If we don't have it at the time, that's fine. We can always come back to the shipment and add it later. We're going to put a description. And we're going to select our entities. So in this particular case, we're going to just select a customer that is from China. Our forwarding agent, again, is China. And I'm sorry, at the master level, we're going to put in China as the shipper, and we'll take care of the consignee later. And then the ultimate consignee here would be Venezuela. Now I'm going to toggle down to the house, so I'll go there, and I want to basically ensure that what I've added in is fine. If you recall, anything that I do here will trickle down to the house. So as I'm modifying departure and arrival times here, that will trickle down. The only thing that won't trickle down is the description of goods at the master level. Next, the entities, if I go down to the house, should be the same, except for the fact that now we have the actual shipper. So we'll just pull that person in again, and then, of course, our consignee, Dynamics Corporation. The last thing that I want to do is return to the master, and I want to go to the routing tab, and here I'll select the Shanghai place of loading. Remember, this is port-to-port vessel containerized. Exporting carrier is Hamburg, and we'll select one of our ships, and we'll add a voyage identification number. Now, we mentioned that the charges would not, the cost would not be added at the master. In this case, we are going to apply those at the house level, and we're going to apply it to the forwarding agent. So any charges that we would have here would be added via expense freight charge, and we apply that to the carrier or whomever it is that's charging that to us. So I'm going to leave this blank. Master, this particular case, is left blank, and I'm going down to the house bill of lading. And here what I want to do is I want to add in the container. So I'm going to go to repack. And again, the reason why I'm doing repack and not add is I'm not looking to add the contents of the container. I simply want to add the container and just leave a general description regarding the contents. So this is a 40-foot high cube. And we could put whatever description we would like. I'm not going to enter a container number because, again, this is validating container numbers, and I don't want to get stuck there. So here would add the weight. I'm just adding whatever random numbers, and then I'll select next and finish. So now we have our container at the house level. As you can see, the reason why I know I'm at the house level is because I can toggle up to the master. Now we have these two charges here, but what I want to do is I want to get rid of those. Those were added in automatically. The system is configured to generate charges automatically at the moment. That will be refined as you guys go work through the software and Advice 1. So now basically what I'm doing here is I want to add an invoice for the charges. Okay, so the first thing that I want to do is I have my entity Dynamics Corporation. I want to go down to transactions and I want to add the transactions and I want to go to add invoice, and this will be for Dynamics, of course. And Dynamics, we are charging them, and let's charge them as of the arrival date. Um, I'm not sure if that's their terms, but we'll just say that it is in this particular case. We're going to add the freight charges. All right, and that will be from Shanghai to Puerto Cabello. And we're going to say that this is going to cost $1,500. This is what we're charging our customer. We're going to do something like CNT for container. And then the next charge would be the origin administration charge. And we'll charge them $140. All right, so we have our invoice, okay, and I've made sure that I put the terms in correctly. Let's just say these are net 30. Transaction date would be the arrival date, so I say okay. And now what I want to do is add a credit memo. Now, the reason why I'm adding a credit memo is because China in this particular case, had prepaid the charges for the shipment, the carrier charges, and I'm simply paying them back. So what I want to do is issue a credit memo in the database so that I can simply apply the money that I owe to another invoice to which I owe them, or I can simply refund them. So now I'm going to select Lilly and Associates, China, and let's just say that this is for freight costs. Okay, so if I don't have the freight charges here, I do. And that'll be $1,000. So now I say okay. And I have a invoice and a credit memo to Lilly Associates China for the amount of the freight. So that part is done. Any other charges that had not been added or had not been invoiced and are simply added to the shipment will be reviewed by the person creating the audit for this particular shipment. So basically what I'm looking at here is open charges that had generated automatically. If the person auditing notices this, then he can just simply delete, he or she. And basically by comparing the charges to the source documents, they can determine if this has been created correctly or not. Now, as far as the shipment, the documents, as you can see, these two particular documents were created automatically. One thing that we are missing here, which will need to be added, is a bill of lading. So we'll just add the bill of lading. This is the master bill of lading. If I scroll down to the house, then of course I can add the house bill of lading, as well as any other documents. So you can see that you can add them both either master or house as needed. The other documents that are not needed, you can simply delete if not needed. And the way you do that is just basically go here and remove. So just say delete and delete. Now, once you've completed this, then basically what you want to do is once you know the ship has sailed, I will want to put this in transit. And then basically your shipment is all set after the liquidation review has been finalized.